Hello, and welcome to another episode of Celebrating Southbridge. I'm Ron Sanangelo, Southbridge's town manager, and this show is really all about you. We want to keep you, the citizens of our community, informed about the everyday issues here in town. I'd like to bring you guests that are involved with town government, or guests who are involved in school, the school system, or the community, all different aspects. And today I have one of the most important guests that I could have, a gentleman who is new to Southbridge, who I think is going to make a tremendous difference in the lives of our children. Dr. Townsel, our new high school principal, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Very excited to be here.
You know, it's great because there's so much excitement around your coming to Southbridge. And I've heard a lot about you. I have an opportunity to watch your TED Talk show. And I tell you, I'm excited because I see a real lot of positive and I see a real good role model for our children. So I guess I first want to introduce you to town. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you, your background, your history, and most importantly, why did you come to Southbridge?
Sure. Well, a little bit about me. I'm born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. I'm a product of Detroit Public Schools. Had an opportunity upon graduation. I attended Howard University in Washington, D.C., where I've obtained my bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degree. And I spent my entire educational career in the District of Columbia. And I come to Southbridge to serve. I'm being from Detroit and seeing some similarities within the town of Southbridge with the blue collar manufacturing industry, and seeing that go. In Detroit, we have the automotive industry. My father still works for Ford Motor Company, been there over 40 years now. But to see that industry when it was once thriving at its maximum capacity, and to watch a city that was built for 2 million citizens dwindle down to roughly 700,000. So some of those similarities. Also, my wife relocated to the area for her career, and it gave me an opportunity to research the area, and Southbridge was available. And I did everything I could to land this opportunity here. So I'm super excited, very excited about the opportunities that we're doing for the children.
You know, what excited me, Dr. Townsel, is reading about your history, right? And you talked about Detroit. Detroit is a difficult town. I mean, there's a lot of poverty, just like we have poverty here. And I was really excited about you overcoming your challenges in life, poverty and things like that. Tell us a little bit about that, because you really have demonstrated yourself as a professional now in your field. But it wasn't easy for you. I think you really set an example for our children who have tough lives in some cases and need to overcome difficult challenges. So tell us, how'd you do that, and how do you think that might influence the children here in Southbridge?
Right. Well, I would definitely say things growing up that were easy to do, easy to get involved in. Growing up in an urban environment where violence is prevalent or where drugs is easy access, I realized things that were easy to do were also easy not to do. Right. So with that being said, I had a phenomenal opportunity to be raised by my mother and father, and all of my siblings. We grew up in the house together, and all we did was challenge each other and make each other better. And growing up in that environment, I mean, literally, I never sold weed. I never sold drugs, because ever since my youth, my mother and father showed love. Now I'm my own man walking in my own shoes. If I would not trip, that means I would not lose. So I work hard. Nope, I never slack. I was known in Detroit for the way that I rap, and the media told me I was supposed to sell crack, but I didn't read that. I had better odds on craps. I stayed out of trouble, and just like that, I put the muscle on my brain to earn their respect. Now I owe no one nothing because the grind paid my debt. Now I do it all good to be fly as a jet.
Yeah, I love that. And we were talking about this before the show a little bit. There was I guess it's a show called TED Talk, and you did that. And I'm not sure what it's called. It's sort of a form of rap, but there's another name for that kind of.
You can call it spoken word, but as you know, the hip hop culture is really about being able to respond to culture. Generally, when you're in the community, you got to find out what the young kids are listening to, man. You have to be able to, you want to be relevant. I come from the urban environment. That's me 100%. I'm highly intelligent and authentically African American. So you can always be true to who you are. The ultimate thing is just to get as much education as you can. Get as much as you can, because I was talking to one of our former students, and the key is to get the education while it's free, because public education, I mean, you can't take it for granted, because after that, if you want to go to a university or a college or even a community college, it costs a lot of money. And students often talk about debt. You really have to pay attention to those things. And it's really, for me, when I realized that things were easy to attain by just staying out of trouble and just put all my energy. For example, I was a student athlete. When I put the same amount of effort I put in on the field into the classroom, that was the game changer.
You know, one of the things you said I thought was really important, the impact of your mom and dad on your life, right? And no matter how poor you are, no matter what the things you have to go through, the challenges of the streets, so to speak.
Sure.
If you have that foundation at home that keeps pushing you, that keeps driving you to meet those challenges and not to do the drugs, but instead to focus on education, it makes a huge difference. So the parents, I guess I would ask you, you know, you're going to be challenging the kids to do things, but is there a challenge for the parents as well? Kind of your mom and dad's challenge about how they relate to their own child, what they could do to support their children, you know, in the school system. How do you look at that?
Well, and you know, being a young parent now, being a parent is not easy. One thing I can definitely do is commend my mother and father, because we had some tough times in our lives. You know, sometimes things were great, sometimes things were not great. But it's really persevering. I mean, I've seen my father most of the times. You know, oftentimes I wouldn't see him because he was at work, and he was determined not to have 3 young boys grow up and become victims of society. Correct. He wanted us to be productive citizens in society. So another one of my talks that I do is simple. As I take a trip down memory lane, there's a feeling that I get, because in my memory there's pain, memories of hustle, fight, struggle, and shame. But like the quote claims, no pain, no gain. Once upon a time, my hot water stopped. In the winter, I took a bath out of a stove in a pot. 6 people washed up, believe it or not. Blue jeans, white t-shirt was all the clothes that I got, and I took the bus to school, and I took the bus home. But on the bus, I saw guns. The barrel was side of somebody's dome. Pretend I didn't see all that terror going on. I repeated several times, Lord, follow me home. But as I try to see what my future behold, I don't think about the past, because the memory's old. I paved the way for new thought. The lane is going to be gold. But every time I take a trip, a story is told. Understanding, when you know that we all have time and time passes, sometimes you really have to weather storms. And the wind blows on everybody the same. But it's not the blowing of the wind that's going to determine your outcome or where you end up in life. It's how you set your sail.
So how does that communication device, to me that's a wonderful tool, the way you can use that communication with the young people and talk about your life story. How do the kids take to the way you just did again, I call it rap, but I forget the name of it again. It's
spoken word.
Spoken word. How do the kids relate to that? Because I think you get down to what they're comfortable with in their lives and what they see. So tell me about the reaction between you and the kids you've been able to be involved with.
Right. No, I think it's been very effective. And let's be clear, that's not a gimmick. Growing up as a student in high school, I used to write all the time, and that's what got me involved in reading and writing. When I realized I was able to write stories, when I was able to describe things that I've seen and put it in a rhyme pattern. It's nothing. It is rap to an extent. It's poetry. You can call it whatever you want to, but it's real life experiences. So when students, young people in the community are listening to their favorite artists or watching their favorite movies, they're watching it because there's something captivating about it. And it's not necessarily about entertainment at that point. When I was able to use that to influence my life, I mean, that was the game changer for me.
Yeah. See, I don't see it at all as a gimmick. I really like it, and the reason I really like it is because I think as you get older, it's harder to relate to young people. There's just different worlds, as different times that we're brought up. So I really think that using that kind of communication method is a real helpful tool as a way to relate to students and hear from them, and just have them understand that there's a better future for them. You know what I mean? And that's really what you talk about a lot is that better future and how you get there, you know?
Absolutely. What we're moving towards is more of a personalized education for students who are interested in art, students who are interested in STEM, or students who are interested in mathematics, English, whatever you're interested in. I mean, my thing is whatever ignites your passion, go for it full tilt. If it's art, don't let anybody say, oh, you want to be a rapper, oh, you want to be a singer or a dancer. If that's what you want to be, if that's your genius, if that's your passion, maximize it.
Right.
I'm still trying to, figure out what my passion is. I'm in education and I'm a school leader, and I really feel like that's more of a calling and a passion because I can see myself clearly in some of the students that I've met. And it's really about just being exposed to opportunity. And I really think the team that's coming into Southbridge Public Schools, Southbridge High School, particularly, really have a mission for students. Everything that we do is student first. Very excited about opportunities, partnerships. I mean, I'm really, trying to meet with key stakeholders across this region to open up programs and opportunities to get our students ready for not only college but also career. I'm very, very excited about this one opportunity with the Aero Venture Institute. I mean, when I realized we had a nationally ranked flight school in this area, I reached out to the CEO, Mr. George Allen, and right now we're working on putting together an aeronautical science program for our students to get some of these students interested in being pilots. How do we bring an Air Force Academy into the school? How do we take advantage of manufacturing day that goes on here? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was going to say to you, one of the things we're talking about setting up with you and with Jessica is the meeting we meet on a pretty regular basis with all the different leaders of manufacturing companies in town. So we've had like 4 different companies host a lunch or breakfast.
Sure.
We've toured their facilities. We're looking forward to bringing you into that network because there's a lot of young students in, for instance, our high school level that want to go into the technical field. Not everybody is driven to the college career.
Right,
so
right.
we want to be able to connect them to our leading manufacturers and see what does it actually take to get them prepared to go into one of these factory jobs. Now I want to stress that the factory of our moms and dad is not the factory of today. Today it's high-tech equipment. You can almost eat off the floor. It's robotics. It's a whole different science than just piecework that they used to do all day. So it's, people don't understand the good quality salaries you can get in the manufacturing world today, and you don't have to, work in a dark, dungy factory anymore.
Right.
So I think that's going to be a good connection. We're going to connect you with them, and I think it'll be good.
I think that would be fantastic. It's really whatever you're interested in, whatever your passion is, there should be a club to kind of facilitate that. So you can just blow the roof off whatever your opportunities are in the future. So I think that would be a phenomenal opportunity for the students of Southbridge.
Yep. You've been here not that long so far. So you're, I'm sure, getting used to your team and talking to the teachers, and I know you've been involved in a lot of hiring.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about what you're doing to prepare for the new school year.
Absolutely. One big thing that I'm super excited about, we're becoming a Google school, Google for Education. I had a phenomenal opportunity last weekend of July to visit the headquarters of Google Education in Chicago and visit schools across the area that are number one, that are one-to-one with technology and that are using and being very efficient with the technology. So we're getting over 1,800 Google Chromebooks. Every teacher in the district is going to have when they come back for their teacher orientation, they're going to have a Google Chromebook. So really amplifying our information system, amplifying how we communicate with students and family, that is going to be key because when you think about communication, our students are on mobile devices. Our students are not no longer are people relying on getting printouts to see their grades, to see their schedules, communicating with teachers, writing letters to teachers. Every student is going to have an email address and a Google login. So I think that is really going to set the tone for how we move forward because we're literally going beyond the 21st century when it comes to technology and education.
It's funny you say that, right? iPhones and stuff are out there, right? If I need somebody to help me with an iPhone, I go to my 12-year-old to load my iPhone and bring down applications. It's amazing how quickly kids pick up on technology, and literally they're teaching us how to use it, which is shocking, but it's true.
Right, and another way we're going to help guide students to different pathways is we're going to have a student help desk. If a teacher is having an issue with their Google Chromebook. What they do is they bring it and put in a service ticket with our students through our tech ed program, and students actually service the computers and fix them in real time where they're getting that experience. I think that's going to be invaluable when they graduate high school, and they also learn customer service skills, just being, amplifying their social skills to its maximum capacity.
Jessica had brought in one of her old, I guess you call them laptops, right? So they had a whole bunch of these laptops at the school system. They were 5 to 6 years old, and she showed them to me, and a bunch of keys were missing off the typewriter pads and stuff. And she's telling me about this old technology in the school system. And I challenge any of you out there in the audience, if any of you have a laptop that's 5 years old, you think about how hard it is to make them last that long, and you're the only user. Now think about a laptop that 200 kids switch off on it every day, and they're 5 years old. You can imagine the condition of these. So she showed it to me, and I'm seeing all the keys in the typewriter. And I'm like, I can't believe this. To the point I actually made an appointment, went over to the school system, and said, I want to see these computers. I went through them. About 25% of the computers we had, literally, you couldn't see the letters on some of the keys. It was embarrassing. And we were talking about the reason for getting the Chromebooks, which I think is going to be a tremendous new tool going into this year. And we're leasing them, and hopefully it's going to be on a 3-year lease, and we'll try to spread out the cost of them. But I think that students are going to be excited about that, of actually having technology that's new, up to date, right at their fingertips, because that's where the world's going, right?
That's where we are. I'll be honest with you, Manager San Angelo, that is going to set the tone for how we deliver instruction. Students are going to be at the forefront of information and technology, and the way in which we deliver it will be first rate. I mean, let's be clear, we're not just here to turn around the school. We're here to become not only a state model, but a national model when we're talking about school turnaround. So ultimately, this could be a global model, and that's the way I see it. People are going to want to come to Southbridge and see how they implement Google Education, how do they amplify extracurricular activities, financial literacy, how do they get the partnership with the local airport to offer students aeronautical science. It's going to be a world-class system. That's what we're aiming for. That's the vision.
It's interesting. Often people say to me, well, why did you come to Southbridge? Southbridge has difficult issues to deal with, and they don't pay the highest. That's, the reason you come to Southbridge is because you want to challenge yourself. You want to take something that's difficult, that might be broken a little bit, and fix it and make it better. And that's what I'm hearing from you. And I like the excitement of, you're not talking about just getting a little bit better. You're talking about state-of-the-art better, being an example and being a top-notch school system. And you have to set the goals there if you want to succeed. If you set goals for the middle, you're not going to go anywhere. And I appreciate the fact that both you and Jessica are always telling me about how you're going to change this district and make it better and make it a model for other districts. That's a great goal. And usually when you have those kind of goals, you succeed.
Absolutely. And there's no doubt, there's no delusion. We know there are going to be obstacles. But one thing I learned about obstacles, even growing in Detroit and being in Washington, D.C., that there are opportunities in every obstacle. You've never seen anyone jump to the top of the mountain. It's a step-by-step process. But as long as you're moving forward, you're going in the right direction. I think the new initiatives that we're going to have for students, for our faculty and staff, treating them like world-class professionals, that is moving us in the right direction.
One of the obstacles to the district is the curriculum isn't where it should be, right? So when I was part of the local stakeholders group, we met and we talked about the challenges in the school district. And one of the things that we recognized is that the curriculum itself wasn't built in such a way as to prepare our students for the future. It didn't match the testing that was required by the state. Tell me, I know that you guys have been working hard on building curriculum, getting ready for next school year. Tell me about that and it's going to be harder for students. The curriculum's going to be a little tougher. Tell us about what you're building and the challenges to students.
It is, and a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. So we're aiming for rigor, and a huge shout out to the math educators that came in over the summer and helped build this math curriculum. We're starting with the nuts and bolts, man. We're starting with math. We're moving with science. One of the best things we could have done is brought in our STEM coordinator and our humanities coordinator. Huge resources, people that come with a plethora of knowledge that can help move this system forward. So yes, it's going to be a more rigorous, a very rigorous curriculum where we have our own assessments, where we can assessments across across the curriculum where we can get real live snapshot of where our students are. And I'm very excited to take whatever standardized test they put in front of us, because we know we're challenging our students, and they're going to exceed. But we all know that change is a process. It's not an event. You know, we can't just say, oh, we're doing this and boom, it changed.
Right.
We have to change mindsets. We have to change work ethic. We have to change the overall mental outlook on how we deliver education. I talk with my leadership team at the high school and say, guys, I know we all have contracts here, but this is more of a covenant relationship between us. We're going to do whatever it takes to get the job done. And this is one thing I like to throw out there. And I'm asking you this question, how tall does a tree grow?
To me, it grows as tall as it's able to. I mean, I like to believe that everything has a huge potential and has an unlimited growth ability. It's a matter of you have to challenge yourself to get there. That's kind of the way I look at it.
Absolutely. So a tree grows as high as it possibly can grow. If it produces leaves, it produces however many leaves as it could possibly produce, whether it's fruit, more fruit as it possibly can produce. So we're willing to work as hard as we possibly can work for these students in Southbridge.
So if I'm a parent out there and I'm watching this show, and I know that, oh my God, okay, change is coming to the district, and my child's going to have to adjust to the district, because it's just simply not going to be as easy as it was. It's going to be more challenging. What is I as a parent should say to my young son or daughter that's coming into the middle high school level? How do I tell them to meet this new challenge you're offering?
Absolutely. Well, I think the parents should tell their students, simple as this, go into that school and do everything your administrators and teachers ask you to do. Because I firmly believe in my heart of hearts, with the team that we brought in, with the team that are staying, that's staying in Southbridge, everything that come out of our mouth is to be the blueprint to success, the blueprint to not only going to college, but going through college, the blueprint to going into pathways that you're passionate about. So I can't... all I can say is do what my parents did. They trust the administrators, and I thank God for the school I had an opportunity to go to in Detroit, because I was surrounded by top-notch counselors, top-notch coaches, top-notch teachers, top-notch staff workers in the cafeteria, people that really invested in me as a young man. I really believe that our teachers and our staff members and our administrative staff are everything that's coming out of our mouth is to better the kid, is to invest the kid.
You know, one of the things, I get an opportunity once in a while to speak in the schools, and one of the things I always ask the kids is I ask them what they want to be, because I'm always excited to hear about what is in their mind, in their thought processes, where they want to be. And I talk a lot about, you can be anything you want to be, you just have to commit and do the work to get there, right? But it also is a self-confidence issue. You know, there's a lot of people that want to put you down in this world, you know, and it's good that your staff, your administrators, your teachers are going to support the child. But we really need people to tell these kids that you can be anything you want. The potential's all yours, and create that confidence in them that it takes hard work. But it's doable, you know.
It does.
And you can be that person, and we shouldn't just automatically discount what the kids want to be, you know?
Right. One thing that I'm very cautious about, and our team is as well, we're very cautious about telling students what they can't do.
Right.
Because it's true, you can do what you want to do. I mean, if you want to look at me, yeah, I'm Dr. Townsel. But I was once a rapper. I was once a professional football player. I was once a student. You can be whatever you want to be and accomplish in all areas. So no one was ever able to control my destiny. I mean, I said this once before. Something I've heard is that the best helping hands that you can receive are at the end of your own arms. And that's what you have to do. Take control of your own life. Despite people are going to talk negative. That's how it goes sometimes. Some things you cannot account for. But as long as you believe in yourself, as long as you're able to even self-assess and see where you are and be realistic with yourself. You have to be realistic with yourself. Another thing that I like to say is how much liquid does it take to fill up a gallon jug? How much liquid does it take?
To fill up a gallon is what I would say.
It takes a gallon of liquid, so it takes whatever amount of sweat equity that it takes to become whatever it is you want to do. Are there shortcuts? Maybe, I don't know, but it's about the sweat equity that you're going to put in. So it is work as hard as you. I mean, my thing is as easy as it is to chill and relax and watch videos and stay on Instagram or Snapchat. If you kind of turn that upside down and invest some of that time in reading books and watching some of your favorite documentaries, or even going on YouTube and looking at videos of things that are that interest you, there's so much free information out there, and we all know that information changes situations. Dr. Eric Thomas says that, and I also heard that having information, we're in the information age with all the technology, having information at your fingertips without application leads to frustration. So my thing is that when you get information of what you can become or what you can do in your life, apply it and let the law of attraction work for you, you know, so.
Let's talk about, you know, you're in the high school now, and you're going to be providing that leadership. Tell me about your team. Like you have a team of teachers and other people, you psychologists or whatever different. Tell me about your team. I know that there's been a lot of staff changes, right?
Sir.
And there's been a lot of shake-up, and some teachers have left, some new teachers have come in. Tell me about your team now and how you went about building that team.
Yeah, so whenever we put out applications for whatever job position, we received a nice response back. I know specifically when looking for assistant principals, we may have had over 60 applicants. So it really went down to a process, literally scrubbing every last applicant, calling them for screening them, whether it's phone interviews, bringing them in, ranking them, and going through a process, a collaborative effort with the hiring committee and literally ranking everybody. Even I was ranked, ranking everybody that comes in the building and putting the best person possible in that building. So I'm very excited about Mr. Will Sinkowicz and Mr. Patrick Danby, assistant principals at the high school, come with a lot of knowledge, a lot of skill, a lot of love for children, and they're going to do everything they can to pour whatever resource they have into students. Also, we have a phenomenal athletic director coming on board who's working extremely hard right now to get every last program to, I told him collegiate level. You know, we have the beautiful facilities. My mind is collegiate or professional. It has to be top of the line. And even with our new band director, music teacher, a young man coming in with a lot of musical background knowledge, knows how to conduct a band. And I do want to say, and a huge shout out to even teachers who've resigned from the position for whatever reason, being very supportive about still moving Southbridge forward, being resources to help new people on board. It's just been an all-around team effort, man, and it's so humbling because to see a lot of people come together for one common effort, just to watch students achieve and be happy and proud of where they come from. It's been, I'm having the time of my life, I'll be honest with you.
You know, Dr. Townsel, one of the interesting things, and I love to hear it, and the same goes for me when I came here. I didn't know anybody when I came here, so I had no loyalties to any friends or anybody else to hire them or none of that stuff. So you get to pick the most qualified people. And it's nice to be in that position where you don't feel like you owe anybody or nobody, isn't a friend asking for
favors.
Yeah, no favors, none of that stuff. So you can pick the very best team. And that's what it sounded like you had an opportunity to really pick all based on qualifications. And that's what the people outside want. They want the best person in the position. It sounds like that's what you're working towards.
Absolutely. I'll be honest with you. I've come to Southbridge I didn't bring people with me from D.C. I didn't pull anybody from Michigan. I didn't pull anyone from Howard University. What I did was I trust the process. I just trust the process. I knew that we would have good applicants because you want people in your ear that are telling you the right thing. You don't want people in your ear telling you what you want to hear. You want to hear the right thing. So, yeah.
No, it's good. You want your staff. I mean, I hate when and I've lived in a bubble where people were afraid to tell me anything. I get a staff who, if I do something wrong, is very willing, able to tell me when I did it wrong. And that's what I need. I mean, it doesn't do me any good to hear people who just agree with me all the time. I need that challenge and excitement to tell me what to do. And that's important, that staff communicates with you when you're screwing up or when they think you're off track.
We're all thought partners. I mean, my motto is if we put something out on the table, if someone wants to poke a hole in it, you must patch the hole.
Yeah.
We don't just leave a bunch of holes poked and now we can't fill up the glass.
Yeah, and there's people that do that. They offer criticisms with no solutions.
Yeah.
I like it. If you offer me a criticism with a solution, I'm more willing to listen to your criticism.
Absolutely.
You just offer me a criticism and I got no way to solve it. Well, okay, well, let's
criticize you and you walk away with criticism. When
yeah, it doesn't help you at all. A big issue here in Southbridge is that we have I don't know, somewhere between 40 and 50% a Latino population, and as I read some of the numbers, I think it was somewhere around 18% that struggle with English. That are English is difficult for them. I got to tell you, I was just surprised and aggravated when I heard about how many English as second language teachers we had. And the school system, I think the past school system, the past school committee failed in terms of providing that English teacher for those students. And I know you guys are adjusting for that. Tell me a little bit about that, because if a student can't communicate, he can't learn.
Sure.
I mean, and that's a real problem. How are we addressing that, and what do you expect to do with those students that are struggling through English?
Right. So one thing that we've done that is phenomenal is we put a laser-like focus on our ELL students, our English language learning students. We have a director of ELL, Miss Cooney, doing a phenomenal job in identifying students, putting resources in places right now. We've hired a number of ELL teachers, and we went through the hiring process, ranking, getting the best candidate possible. So I'm extremely confident in what we've done to get the right people on the team to support that particular population with that particular skill. But let's be clear, this is all inclusion. They're going to receive the best education. I mean, I'm not big on labeling people or putting tabs on people. These are Southbridge students that are going to have the best support around them. We're looking to support in every aspect of their educational experience at Southbridge High School.
So I think a clear message to people is going to be, it doesn't matter what your nationality, you're going to be treated the same. That's the way it works. Just it is what it is, and we don't care what your nationality is. We're going to provide the quality education to you, and when you need a kick and you need somebody pushing you, you're going to get the kick.
Absolutely, man. It's a little tough love sometimes. Sometimes when you're young, I can remember specific situations when I was young and people would tell me what to do, and I think you don't know what's best for me. But when I look back, and reflect, they knew what they were talking about. So our students, they have nothing to worry about. They can trust this team. Not saying they couldn't trust anybody in the past, but understand this team is here now. You can trust who's here right now. They have your best interests at heart.
So let's talk about the disadvantaged student a little bit, because that's always the challenge in the schools. Is there's some kids that are behind other kids in the class and have a hard time keeping up. And I know that, I think it's Nikki's her name, I forget her last name, is your social emotional
Murphy, Miss Murphy.
Murphy, yeah. Mrs. Murphy. She's got quite a challenge ahead of her, because we do have, some poverty in town, and that makes it harder for those students to keep up when they're worried about getting breakfast, for instance. Tell me about that challenge, and I know you're going to be working with Mrs. Murphy. What are your thoughts as it revolves around helping those kind of students?
Right. Well, one thing that Ms. Murphy did that was phenomenal, and when I heard about it, I just jumped right on board, is we're going to have a family resource center at the high school, and we're just here to support whatever. I mean, I know my assistant principals even supported me with doing an audit of all services that are provided to families, so we can have those resources at our fingertips and at their fingertips. When they come to the school to get any type of service, the resources that we want to be a one-stop shop for support and success. So you come and get whatever information it is for whatever resource you may need. So she's done an awesome job there. We've hired some additional adjustment counselors, in addition to our guidance counselors and the curriculum that they will follow with supporting family, and reallocating some duties within the administrative office at the high school with blasting our attendance issue, getting our counselors calling those students every single day. I don't care if you're late. We have to make those phone calls home to ensure that we have everyone in-house. We can make sure everyone's accounted for and give everyone the service that they need. It's really, Manager San Angelo, is really about overextending ourselves. We have to exceed our expectations for these students. And one thing that Dr. Heiserkin often says is that she has high expectations for everyone that comes into this district, but with high expectations come high support. And I would take it even a step further. Not only high expectation, high support, our families can expect high productivity from this team here, because we're doing what it takes, man. And we're doing it the hard way, I would like to say, because you know, I don't, I'm not connected. I don't have any resources in my back pocket. I'm going out and knocking on doors. Had an opportunity to meet today with the CEO of the Southbridge Credit Union and talk about financial literacy program curriculum that we can bring in for our students. Getting our students into internships is really extending ourselves above and beyond to open all doors possible for our students. I don't want students. I used to talk about the fishbowl analogy. There's nothing wrong with Detroit, which is where I'm from. There's nothing wrong with the town of Southbridge. But when that's all you see and that's all you know, you kind of get stuck in the mentality of this is all there is.
Yep.
And not only, you're in that bowl, but let's be cognizant of streams, lakes, ponds, rivers, oceans. So it's exposing them to ultimate a lot of opportunities.
It's interesting you say that. When I came to Southbridge, it kind of blew my mind where I would hear Southbridge citizens really bad-mouthing the town and putting the town down. And I understand that because the town I came from, originally a town called Naugatuck, was a factory town that drove off to have factories. And when the factories disappeared, it almost like crushed the morale of the town, And people just look at the town and they talk about the glory days of AO, or in my case, the glory days of UNRL. Well, those glory days are over, but you have to replace them with new glory days, Instead of sitting there and complaining about what was, the question should be asked of what is possible.
Absolutely.
And how to move forward. And I don't think we spend enough time in Southbridge, some of the residents have talking about what can we be, what should we be, what's our next steps. I love and I appreciate the fact that AO is here, but it's not anymore. So it's time now to move on.
So what's next?
Yeah, and that's what we really do. I spend a lot of time talking about the positive things. I came to Detroit, I was excited about something. I saw the downtown area, which I think is beautiful. I saw some of the architecture, Notre Dame Church, and I met with different business leaders. I was pretty excited about the town, and I've only been here a year, and I'm falling in love with the town. It's hard for me. Why have you been here 20 years and you trash this town? And frankly, all it does is when you badmouth the town, it lowers property values. It makes people not want to come here. It's in your own self-interest to say good things and build it up, because then your property values go up, more people come here to improve the schools. You have to think positive and you have to move forward. That doesn't mean you ignore the challenges. You have to meet them head on.
Well, again, obstacles open doors for opportunity.
Yep.
My comment to that is just moving forward. Every student of Southbridge High School, every citizen in the town of Southbridge, just have a positive mental outlook of what can be. I'm excited because although this is my first principalship, my first graduating class will be 2020. And if you know anything about 2020, that's vision. I've once heard that the one tragedy is having sight without vision. So we have vision for future. We have a chief of learning and innovation. How can we innovate with what we have? How can, like you said, how do we move forward with what we have? Some things will never come back, but what do we do moving forward? Do we give up? Do we throw in the towel? Absolutely not. We innovate.
You sit there and complain, that doesn't do anything.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Frankly, as I said, I saw those computers, the old computers to the schools. That I was angry, but it was like, okay, that's the past. I can't do anything about the old computers or what they were. What are we going to do to move forward to get new computers and new Chromebooks and do this thing? Sitting complaining about what happened in the past didn't really do me any. It doesn't do us any good, right?
Well, and that's what I tell some people that I encounter. I'm not necessarily interested in the old administration.
Yeah.
I'm here now. This is what I can do.
Right.
I'm cognizant of mistakes that can be made.
Yep.
But it's how do we take the best of what was of the past and move forward with that with new ideas.
So let's talk about, we know there's a core curriculum that you guys have to teach, right? So there's math and there's science and there's English. Those are the cores. There's some non-core classes that you're excited about that they're going to be offering in the school system that, every kid has their own interest. A kid might have a drama thing, or maybe they're interested in Latin or French or what. What do you see as other kinds of things that are happening beyond the core the core classes that students might be excited about?
Sure, and you just mentioned one which when I served as an assistant principal in Washington, D.C., we were a nationally ranked high school, and we were one of the top schools in the district. And I thought it was particularly because we offered this course called Latin. If you know, Latin is at the base of our language.
Right.
You know, a lot of history with Latin, and we've always done well on our national Latin exam. So Latin is what we brought to Southbridge to add with our world languages to kind of give some students that winning edge. Also, I had a phenomenal opportunity to meet with the Vice President of Enrollment of Quinsigamond Community College. I'm very excited about the early college access program that we have, in which ninth graders, students coming to Southbridge High School in ninth grade, have an opportunity of taking college level courses and when they ultimately graduate from Southbridge High School, they have 24 credits towards college. Come on,
It's a huge good
Come
thing.
on,
I mean,
man.
even just from expenses of going to college, now you got 24, you don't have to pay for. You have a foundation. You're challenging these students to
my
move
God.
ahead. I mean, that's a huge thing, and Quinsigamond's a huge asset here.
Man,
People don't realize how
it's in
important
our
it is.
backyard.
Yeah, I know.
So that was shout out to Quinsigamond Community College. I mean, that was a fantastic meeting I had with the stakeholders of that institution who really care about the students of Southbridge. Man, I mean, that was huge, and we're going to do everything in our power to get that early college access program up and running.
So for those of you that are business leaders in our community, I guess what we're saying here is how can you tie your business in to our education system, particularly at the high school level, to help us succeed? If you're a business owner and you can do some kind of internship with some students, that'd be a huge home run for us. So, I think what I'm hearing from this team in the school system is let's use every resource we have in Southbridge to make our system better so we can get that, tremendous quality school system.
I mean, why not? It's in our backyard. I mean, again, I can go back to when I found out we had a world-class flight school here.
Yeah.
I reached out, and now a partnership is coming together. And I'm a big believer of speaking it into fruition. I think on August 19th, we're going to have our big press release. We're still working out the logistics of that, but that is going to be huge for students. I mean, and built into that program, students are going to have real-time flight time where they're actually in planes flying with a real live pilot. And take a look at the Southbridge High School Facebook page. I had a phenomenal opportunity to actually fly over the town of Southbridge, particularly the high school area, just to let students know that the sky is the limit. There are no more glass ceilings here. No more. If there ever were glass ceilings.
Right.
See, I have a no limit mindset. So I really think that's going to translate very well for the students here.
So opening day is coming before we know it. I'm sure the kids aren't happy about that, but opening day is coming. So I know you guys have a program for opening day and you're going to have a speaker. Tell us what you can about the opening day. And I know that the speaker herself or himself are a little top secret, but other than that.
We have a fantastic speaker coming in opening day, our keynote speaker. And let me just say, I know I'm constantly throwing shout outs, but the team in Central Office have put together a world-class professional development opportunity for new teachers and returning teachers to the district. And just stay tuned. All I can say, teachers, go back into your communities and talk about how well the team treated you guys, because the reality is that they're on the front lines, and all we can do is put best practices up front. Our speaker, world-class speaker, nationally renowned. And that's all I can say. I don't want to spill.
And we ain't going to spill the secret, but it's going to be also a motivational thing for all of our staff to get our staff excited about the new school year and the challenges. And frankly, it's a new perspective. It's a new Southbridge school system. For those families that are out there that were thinking about school choice and getting out of the district, or they kept hearing the negative things about our district. Well, frankly, I think you should stay tuned to this district and stay in this district, because it has an exciting future and a really driven staff looking at things make better. If you were going to move this kid out of the district, you should have did a long time ago. Now is a chance where the district's going to see all kinds of new changes, and there's a new excited and motivated team. This is the time to think about coming back to this district.
Absolutely. I mean, again, we're not just trying to turn the school around. We're trying to not only become a state model, but a national model, and possibly even a global model. One thing that I'm also very excited about, one of the initiatives that I'm working on, is making Southbridge High School an international baccalaureate diploma program school, in which students graduate with college credits where they can go to universities outside of the country. We're not just trying to make our students productive citizens nationally, but also globally. So the IB program that's one of the programs that I'm going to put my heart and soul in to get that program up and running. Are you familiar with IB?
No, I'm not. I'm not familiar with IB. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Right. So IB is an international baccalaureate program. I know you may have heard of AP, which is advanced placement. It's a type of advanced placement, but it's more of an international model where students take classes such as theory of knowledge, which are required courses to take. And it really, I mean, ultimately, students can graduate high school with up to a 4.5, maybe even a 5.0 grade point average, depending on how well they do on those exams. But it's a winning edge. That's how those students get accepted into the elite universities in the country, the elite universities in the region, and also across the globe. That international baccalaureate program is going to be a game changer from some of our graduates in Southbridge.
I tell you, what has excited me, quite frankly, from when Dr. Hazenga? Is that the way to say it? Hazenga? I always have a hard time with her last name. We have developed a great relationship, and she's dynamite to work with. And we were able to really develop a good budget this year that they're pretty happy with. And because we struggle, we don't have a lot of money,
Sure.
but the budget is one that they're pretty happy with. I think you have all the resources this year you need to be successful. But, you know, it's not just about dollars. It's about partnerships. And that partnership between the town and the school district is tremendous right now. And have a town council that's very supportive of the school district. And I think that's key. That relationship between the different groups is really, I think, essential to improving education in town. So I'm excited about that. But let's talk about the resources. Are you comfortable that the high school has its resources that it needs to be successful this year?
Absolutely. We have an excellent, I mean, I don't know how Dr. Heisinger put this team together, but we have an excellent chief financial officer, Mr. Dede.
Great guy.
And when I say he understands checks and balances and he understands school finance and he have us on par. I mean, we have some strict deadlines that's going to keep us accountable for our spending, but I'm confident with his expertise we can do whatever it is we need to do. I mean, I just mentioned the flight school program that we're the partnership that we'll have. I mentioned international baccalaureate. We're having those conversations. I'm not just having this conversation with you. We're talking about this with our chief financial officer, with our receiver. And these are real live opportunities that are going to happen for our students. So we have a good handle on things. And I'm confident. I mean, you can never have too much money, right? Because if we can have flat screen TVs in every classroom, we'll do it if it improves student achievement. So, but I think we're going in the right direction finance-wise.
Well, the business manager you have, Dan Dede, is a great guy.
Oh,
and I was really impressed when we brought him on board because he has a lot of history, a lot of background, and tremendous qualifications for the position.
Goodness.
And that's what we need. We need a solid business manager there. And he regularly contacts our town accountant and I and keeps us informed of what he's doing. We've had a lot of conversation, particularly about the Chromebooks in recent days and that lease agreement. So, you know, it's nice to be able, from the town side of government, to be able to trust the leaders that are coming over from the school district. And that's what we have in a real partnership. So I think that is a tremendous value for continuing building that trust and continuing to have that partnership. Because you need it every year. I mean, every year is a new budget you have to fight for and stuff. And that partnership will help make that process go smoother.
It absolutely will. And I'll be honest with you, students are at the heart of every last conversation we've had. Yep. I've never talked about myself or my team or my friend or this or that or a job. No. What can we do to support student achievement? They're at the heart of every decision that we make.
Okay, so let's do a little bit of fluff subject, right? So, because we've talked about the district, but one of the things that people love about school systems is the athletic side. And we know you used to be a pro football player, right? Who did you play for?
Yeah, so I played collegiately at Howard University, and I played in the indoor football league with the Maryland Maniacs, the Richmond Revolution.
Oh, okay.
I played in the American Indoor Football Association with the York Capitals. And I also had an opportunity to go to Canada with the Canadian Football League. I was a member of the Saskatchewan Roughriders in 2009. Okay. So I had a nice opportunity. And speaking of football, a huge shout out to our head coach. I had an opportunity. We have a football camp going on right now, and I went out there for 2 days with those guys, and they're out there getting it done.
Yeah.
I mean, I talked to a young man today, a defensive end that we have, who's a junior, 6'3", about 220 pounds. I'm like, son, you passed the look test. Let's get you in the weight room. Let's get you on that track, get you conditioned, and let's get you in school. I mean, but one thing I want to say to our students, student athletes, have a seat. Come listen to me. You're a student first, athlete second. One thing my head coach always told me is that one day you're going to be an ex-athlete. When you're an ex-athlete, what do? Right? So take advantage of that student opportunity. You're student first, athlete second. If you want to be a collegiate athlete, student first, athlete second. Take care of business in the classroom as you would do on that gridiron or that basketball court or on that volleyball court. Whatever your passion is, the same sweat equity you put in on that field, on that court, you put it in those books. Every room you walk into, every seat that you sit into, every building you're a representative of Southbridge Public School. You put that same ethic on the student side, you do on the athlete side, the sky's the limit.
So what's harder, being a professional level athlete or being a high school principal?
Man, they're both equally tough. I mean, I'll be honest with you, playing on the professional level, even on the collegiate level, that is not for the faint of heart. Being a school leader, whether it's principal or superintendent or an assistant principal, that's not for the faint of heart. You're put into some positions that you have to maneuver your way out of the best way possible that will move your team forward or move your student achievement forward. So they're both difficult, I'll be honest with you. If everyone could be a professional athlete, it wouldn't be a big deal.
It wouldn't be a big deal.
But it's really hard to climb that ladder of professional athleticism.
Yeah. Well, listen, I want to thank you for being here today. You know, as I said in the beginning of the show, people are excited that you're here, and I think they're even more excited as they listen to you. I know that I love the whole attitude of success. You know, you can feel it. It vibrates from you, all about trying to make students become the best they can be.
Yes.
And parents out there watching, that's what they want. They want their best for their children, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
So it's great. I know that you're the man to do it, and we're going to
you.
be looking forward to really positive things from you. And I know that parents can reach out to you with questions about their children,
Yes, sir.
that you're going to welcome them. Again, I want to thank you for being part of our team, which in my mind is the whole Southbridge team.
Yes.
Now, of course, I want to wish you all the success in the world, because your success is our kids' success. So
Absolutely.
thank you again for being on the show. It's been a pleasure.
I appreciate it.